Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here and for coming to honor the memory of Pearl Penny Gordon. Some of you were just at the graveside where we did the funeral, but we're going to do something slightly different here. I spoke at the graveside, but what we're going to do here is we're going to share a little bit more about her life, offer some family some time and opportunities to share her story and share their stories about her. One of the things I always like to say in these contexts is that in the Jewish tradition, we often say, Zichronah livracha, may her memory be a blessing. And the way that her memory remains a blessing is by continuing to tell the stories, continuing to learn the lessons, continuing to keep her memory alive. And by staying alive, we're able to maintain it as a blessing for us. So first, I'd like to invite Penny's daughter, Bimi, to come up to share a few words. And then we'll open it up to anyone else who would like to speak. And Reina will share at the end as well. Bimi and Deborah will come up too.
I'm moral support.
Okay. First of all, I just want to thank all of you for being here and honoring Mother, because we're here today to mourn, to honor, and to celebrate. And it's a very auspicious time, really, today. There's three things that I wanted to recognize. One is we're starting Purim, and we're celebrating, it's a joyous holiday, and we're celebrating Esther. And she's the queen, and so we get to celebrate Mom, and so Queen Penny with Queen Esther. You know, this time when the body leaves and the spirit ascends and transcends, it's a very special time because there's a new journey that's starting. And we're all here to honor that. And astrologically, because I love astrology, it's a lunar full moon eclipse today, and that only happens every 2.5 years. And it's a time for letting go of whatever doesn't work, and renewing and starting new. So it's symbolic that Mother went out on a power time, that we're able to be here, and she's renewing and starting anew, and so are we. Our lives are really changed from this time forward. And I know all of you who have lost mothers know that, and we just feel that void. So here's our eulogy. How do you describe a force of nature, a woman whose love has been as fierce as it is limitless? That was Mom, strong-willed, spunky, feisty, intuitive, witty, and endlessly giving. Her love wasn't just deep, it was an unstoppable force. She was in my corner no matter what, even when she strongly disagreed, standing by us with unwavering devotion. She said so many times, we may not always see eye to eye, but we will forever feel heart to heart. Her love was intense, powerful, and let's be honest, sometimes overwhelming. But that was Mom, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Mom and Dad shared a love story that was as beautiful as it was enduring. It all began when her bestie friend Betty from college set them up for a blind date in Birmingham. Mom was 21. Dad was instantly smitten, though Mom took a little longer because she had suitors in Omaha. But fate had its way, and she soon fell deeply in love with him and chose to move to Birmingham and start her new life. Years later, we found a shoebox with Dad's heartfelt poetry in it, his reflections on life, and his deep love for what he continually called his darling wife. Their love remained unwavering, and even at his passing, Mom always spoke about him with great affection and saying what a good man he was and how lucky she was. Family was everything to Mom. She called us my people. She was our rock, our commander-in-chief, our take-charge director and planner, our guiding force, pouring her devotion and strength into every moment. Holidays, beach trips, birthdays, she made them special, handling every detail with care. We would always count on her to follow through, and of course, she always knew the best way. After all, in her eyes, her way was the right way, and we all knew it, friends and family alike. Before decisions were made, we all knew to check with Mom to see if it was okay. Mom loved the family holidays, pouring hours into cooking her signature gourmet dishes, like her famous yard-lawn filet mignons drenched with gravy, melt-in-your-mouth briskets, and of course, her legendary lox molds. Everyone eagerly awaited her meals, not just for the feast, but because she always made extra, ensuring that the cousins left with full take-home containers. Mom especially loved our summer beach vacations with all the cousins. In later years, she would sit on the balcony and just wave to us as we were down on the beach, and we just shared special time together. Mom's love for family, as we've been saying, was unwavering. She cared for her parents tirelessly, shared life's joys and devastating hardships with her beloved sister Rita, and devoted herself to Marshall, our dad, remaining at home for the 15-year battle with Alzheimer's. And that was hard, but her compassion knew no bounds. For Dad, Deborah, Jerry, Raina, and me, she gave all of herself, her heart full of deep devotion. As she said, Dad was her world, we were her moon and stars, and Raina was the sunshine of her life. She cherished every moment we had together. Mom always said to us, a mother's love knows no bounds, and no matter how old you are, you'll always be my baby. But her signature line was, I will always love you more. Our strong-willed family had its moments, but her love was constant, embracing us in the best way she knew. More in her final months, we repeatedly told her how wonderful she was and how proud we were to be her daughters. She'd smile, nod, and simply say, I know. Mom never let anything slide that was out of kilter. She was truthful, direct, and always knew what was right. All you had to do was ask the CEOs, the company presidents, and the store managers who received her meticulously crafted letters, which read like legal documents. Her determination got results, even if it rattled a few people along the way. Her sharp mind earned admiration from her beloved mentor, Bubba Friedman, and trial attorney Richard Jaffe. Most of all, she passed that fire to us, teaching us to stand tall, speak up, and never let anyone take advantage of those who you love. Mom had a way with words, whether writing radio ads in Omaha, crafting musical parodies for Sisterhood and Hadassah, or penning heartfelt poems for friends and family. Her humor was legendary, sharp-witted, quick, and perfectly timed. She had a knack for spotting people's quirks and turning them into comedy gold. Aging was one of her favorite punchlines. Even at 95, she would joke, "My shelf life is expiring." But trust us, her wit had no expiration date. And so many unforgettable moments she's left us with. One of our favorite memories was Mom's obsession with stocking up on celebratory cards. Grocery stores and card shops became extended family outings as she meticulously picked the perfect message, often buying 5 to 10 cards just to be prepared. She had them sorted in drawers and bags by category. And let's say her inventory will keep us going for years. Mother had 2 signature trademarks that never failed to turn heads. First, her iconic Deco sunglasses, which most of you have seen. And she wore those for over 25 years. They were so cool and stylish that even the younger folks couldn't resist complimenting them. And second was her unforgettable fragrance, the perfume that she wore. She found the perfect scent for her. And the people were always asking her what she was wearing, just like she was on the red carpet. Mom was blessed with incredible friends that felt more like family. Her best and longest friend was Betty, who stood by her side. They were there for each other, sharing life's joys and tragic heartbreaks. Charlotte, who passed recently, was another dear friend, talking with Mom daily, swapping stories and secrets. Dorothy, now 101, has been a cherished part of our lives since Mom first came to Birmingham after World War II. They talked all the time until just weeks ago. Dorothy's thoughtful cards, fruits, and flowers have always been appreciated. Mom would always say to her friends, "So what do you know?" And then they all compared stories. Mom's friendships were rare and deep. When she loved, it was wholeheartedly and forever. Mom's weekly canasta and mahjong games were a well-oiled machine, thanks to her. Sissy, Charlotte, Estelle, Irene, Gladys, Rosalie, Barbara, Roz, all depended on her to keep track of whose house was next. If there was ever any confusion, one thing was certain: just call Mom. She was basically the GPS of the social calendar. Years after Dad passed, we proudly founded the Old Biddy Dining Club. It was Mom, Betty, Dorothy, Deborah, and me, rotating restaurants each week. At first, they strutted in unassisted, but as time went on, walkers became the must-have accessory. Loading and unloading them from the trunk became a workout routine of its own. But nothing stopped them from showing up, laughing, and dishing out stories, because biddies never miss a meal or good gossip. When Mom lost her vision, she took it in stride. No drama, just adapting. Her late-night TV marathons were swapped for endless hours of country music, a surprise to us all. She'd sit on the couch, fully immersed, often moving and grooving to her favorites, proving that even without sight, she found a way for a good time. Mom's weekly trip to the beauty shop was a must-do ritual. But when COVID hit, we went full salon mode, launching Beamy's Beauty Shop right in her condo. Deborah and I became her personal stylists, washing, cutting, curling, and helping transform her blonde to her true silver glory. She loved it. bragging to friends about her exclusive in-home hairdressers and all the money she saved. Hold on. We're almost done. Who knew that quarantine would turn into a full-service glam squad? Her caregivers, we are deeply grateful for Mom's extraordinary caregivers whose love and dedication were a true gift. Eloise Shaw, the first to join after Mom's stroke, became not just an amazing daytime caregiver, but a dear friend, sharing endless jokes and laughter. They loved each other a lot. Earlene was also our steady anchor, tirelessly caring for Mom through countless nights of up and down. And Brenda, who joined last year, brought fresh energy and conversations to Mom's days. Their kindness and devotion meant the world to us, and we will forever be thankful. In the end, Mom's greatest gift was love. Powerful, protective, and endless. She always said, "I love you more," no matter how much we told her we loved her. To her, a mother's love was always more, beyond measure, beyond the world. In her final years, we had the privilege of caring for Mom as she had always cared for us. One of us was always spending time with her every week for years. And one of the ways we were able to show up was in knowing how much she loved good food. So we prepared fresh meals each week for her caregivers to serve. It was an honor to give back in a way that brought her joy, a small gesture of love for someone who gave us so much. Mom, your love will live in our hearts forever. We will honor your strength, your humor, and your unwavering devotion, carrying your spirit with us always. Though you are no longer here in body, we know you are watching over us, your love forever woven into our lives, guiding, comforting, and reminding us that we were and always will be my people. And if we could say one last thing to you, Mom, it would be this: we love you more.
Now, would like to take a moment and invite anybody else who is here, if you have any stories or memories or lessons that you would like to share in Penny's memory, please feel free to come up and share a little bit now. Don't trample each other on the way up.
I'm Frank Siegel, for those who don't know me. I was Aunt Penny's nephew through marriage to Wendy, and Wendy's Rita's daughter. And there are any number of memories I have of Aunt Penny. And Beanie covered most everything. But there are some great ones. When on Rosh Hashanah, where she would have her beef tender or whatever, it was just perfect, always perfect. She insisted on it being perfect for everyone, for her guests. And that's such a great memory, especially when they were in their home on Hillsdale Road. But one of the things that I most remember about Aunt Penny was one time that I saw her soft side, and that was in preparation for Raina's wedding. So Aunt Penny, Justin Routman, Beanie, and myself gathered to produce the music for Raina's dinner. And Aunt Penny brought in some of the songs that she liked, New York, New York, and put her own lyrics to the songs. And Justin and I played guitar, and we said, well, how about some little more up-to-date songs, some rock and roll? Anyway, she was so adaptable. We thought she would, knowing Aunt Penny would, no, that's not what I want. No, not at all. So such a soft side of her, and she was with a smile, and she just loved every minute of our putting that music together and practicing and getting it just right, and then performing it at the rehearsal dinner. It's just a great memory that I will have of her soft side, and I wanted to share that.
I was Miss Gordon caregiver. Not good at talking in front of people, but anyway, she would always have me laughing most of the time. One day she said, I said, Miss Gordon, I'm finna go. She said, where you going? I said, I'm going home. I said, Miss Gordon, I've been here with you all day now. I got to go and see about my husband. She said, oh, he don't like you. I said, I know he don't. He loved me. And we just cracked up. We just laughed. And the other thing she told me one day, she woke up, she said, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. I said, okay, you can't breathe. I said, let me go and get the oxygen machine. She said, oh, I'm okay, I don't need that thing. So I'm gonna miss Miss Gordon, and I love her family. They have been so nice to me. That's all.
Anyone else like to share? So I shared this at the graveside, but they asked me to repeat it here. So for those who were at graveside, enjoy the encore. For those who weren't, feel like you're hearing it for the first time. When we think of leaders, particularly in our Jewish tradition, we often think of them as strong, as powerful, as righteous, as faithful, as pious, and as fearless. But that's not entirely true. If you do a close read of our biblical leaders, you get a different picture. Abraham was willing to abandon his home and his ancestral home to be in relationship with God, but was insecure at what his legacy would end up being. Moses tried multiple times to talk God out of sending him back to Egypt, terrified at the thought of re-entering Pharaoh's palace. Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, some of our greatest prophets in our history, each are hesitant or outright object to the roles that they are thrust into. Even Queen Esther, whose story we will read tonight and tomorrow morning, was hesitant to step up and put her life on the line for the sake of everyone else. Although we like to think of our heroes as strong and courageous, more often than not, they're not all that different from each of us. They're scared, they're anxious, they're worried about the task in front of them. What makes each of these leaders special is not their lack of fear, but their ability to not let it control them. When I spoke to Bimi, Deborah, and Raina yesterday about Penny, these are the leaders who came to mind. The three of them all described their mother and grandmother as afraid of lots of things. She even made a list of all the things she was afraid of flying, of boats, concerns about her family. But in talking with them, her family did not define her life by her fears or how she was limited by them, but rather all the things that she did anyway. Bimi, Deborah, and Reina talked about her love of family, and you've heard more about it today. They spoke about how she took tremendous care of her parents, Anne and Sam, and her sister Rita when they were ill. They talked about how, as children, she always had them doing after-school activities, organized the family holiday meals, complete with menus, instructions for who was bringing what, and what recipes to make for each thing. And she was the glue that held the family together. They talked about how she supported and stepped up when her beloved Marshall became Temple Bethel president, even though it wasn't necessarily up her alley, and how she channeled her energy into the sisterhood as a vice president and with the circle of friends that Bimi mentioned before. And of course, they talked about those poems and skits that Bimi mentioned. Penny surely had her fears and anxieties and worries, but when you look at the broad picture of her life, there was so much good, so much love, so many rhymes, and so much cheekiness. As we reflect on Penny's life, may that be the lesson that she leaves us with. Like Abraham, each of us may be insecure as to what our legacy will be in life. But if we live like Penny, that legacy will be of love, of accountability, and of an infuriating ability to be always right. Like Moses, we may be scared about the task at hand, but if we live like Penny, we can always find ways to work around those fears to accomplish our goals. Like Isaiah, like Jeremiah, like Ezekiel, and like Esther, we may not always want to do something or believe we can accomplish it, but if we live like Penny, we will always step up for those we love. And most of all, we do not have to be defined by our fears, our anxieties, or our worries, because if we live like Penny, people will define us by the love we shared, the kindness we showed, and the bonds of relationship that tie us together even beyond death. So as we say, Zichrona Livracha, Penny's memory be a blessing. We also pray that her memory will inspire us not to never be afraid, but to not let those fears define our lives. Before we do some concluding prayers, I'd like to invite Penny's granddaughter, Reina, to come up to share. And Deborah will come back to you.
My grandma and my sunshine asked me to give her eulogy way before her time. A huge challenge for those who know, to match her witty words and lyrical flow. With butterflies in my tummy, she upped the ante and said, "You also have to make it funny." To ensure she was properly represented in print, she went ahead and wrote her own obit. Before she found the love of her life, Marshall Gordon, Penny grew up in Omaha, a northern person. She walked to school uphill both ways in the snow. That's the tall tale that I know. She met her lifelong best friend, Betty, as a freshman roommate in college, where Penny studied radio broadcasting and creative writing, accruing much knowledge. Penny followed Betty to Birmingham, where they settled with their beaux, two spirited women from Nebraska and Wyoming to spice up the shows. At the Fairmount Club in Temple Bethel, Penny took on many roles, from directing theater productions to leading sisterhood goals. Penny found more best friends like Sweet Dorothy Shyland, but I'm not sure what would happen if they were stranded alone on a desert island. Fiercely loving and loyal, Dorothy and Penny have been, to nurture their friendship through thick and thin. She held her best friends close and her mahjong pals, adoring Charlotte plus Sissy, Irene, Doris, Roz, Rosalie, Gladys, Estelle. What an amazing group of gals. To her family and friends, Penny was loving, protective, caring, and kind, but she would not hesitate to share any critique on her mind. As much as you may have wanted her to quit, we were usually all better off for hearing it. Grandma, you and your mother, Ann Brick, were my first New Year's Eve dates. For years, we went out together and celebrated with steaks. When Mimi Brick got sick, you made the whole family eat our meals at the hospital together. You were the glue in our family in all types of weather. You looked out for your younger sister, Rita, who knew she could count on you whenever she needed you. Even when I was in school at Annie Miles JDS, she took a job working at the front desk. Penny Gordon was in every way our matriarch, with only sweetness behind her loud bark. Loving, engaged, entertaining, and clever, from the pine tree to the beach, your memory is in our hearts forever.
So at this time, as we prepare to conclude, I'd like to invite the family to rise as we did graveside, we'll do the memorial prayer followed by the mourner's Kaddish. So please rise. El male rachamim, shochen bamromim, hametzeh menucha nechona, tachat kanfei hashchina, b'malot kedoshim u'tohorim, k'zohar harakim azhirim, et nishmat Penina bat Shmuel shahalcha l'olama, B'gan Eden teheh menuchata, Ana ba'al harachamim, Hastirea b'seter knafecha l'olamim, Utzror b'tzror ha'chaim et nishmata, Arnai hu nachalata, V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, V'nomar Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure, to the soul of Pearl Penny Gordon, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. We'll continue with the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, behalma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shmei dekudsha b'riechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. That will conclude our service for today. The family will be sitting Shiva at Penny's house tonight from 3 to 5 p.m. and again from 7 to 9 p.m. and tomorrow from 3 to 5 p.m. as well. and there will be mincha services at approximately 4 o'clock both days. At this time, if we want, we can invite all the guests to form 2 lines, kind of heading out the doors, as we did graveside, and offer the family words of comfort as they pass between the 2 lines on their way out of the sanctuary.